Hey guys, welcome back. Episode 3, The Game Upstairs. Just want to thank you guys for joining me again. I know we kind of had some weeks off, but we're back. We got some more people lined up. We got a real good guest here. He was a player and then transitioned into a coaching role, someone who is helping kind of mold our youth. Just want to introduce him, and I want to introduce him as, his name's Jacob, and I'm going to have him introduce himself to you guys. So, Jacob, if you could just tell us, kind of your background and what you do in terms of, youth sports.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jacob. I coach a club team called SoCal Elite out here, based out of Ontario, California. And so, what I do is I've had these kids since they were basically I've had this team since they were 11. I've been the coach of this team since they were 11, and now they are 18. So I've seen them go through all the changes in terms of behavioral, where sky's falling, where life's so hard. But I've just been there since the beginning with them, and now they're 18 on their way out to college. And personally, myself, I started soccer at the age of 4, and I got into it just kind of by chance. I was just a high energy kid. My parents just said, throw them in soccer. My parents didn't know anything about the game, had no clue. All they knew is they couldn't use your hands. My first year, my dad himself just had to end up coaching because nobody wanted the team. We lost every game, right? So, but I just fell in love with it. I fell in love. It's a beautiful game that that requires discipline and structure and being a good teammate. Even if you don't necessarily love somebody on your team, you know that you need them. And when that whistle blows for however long your game is, 60, 70, 80, 90 minutes, depending on your age, that's your brother for that short amount of time, you know? So my parents knew nothing about it. I played locally in the local leagues, and then onto club travel soccer into high school, and capped out at about the lowest, like a very low level of professional, semi-professional soccer in the U.S. And then once I was finished with that, I started coaching the team that I currently coach right now, SoCal Elite, under 19 team.
And like you said, a majority of us parents that turn into coaches because, like your dad had to be your coach.
Mm,
A lot of the times these rec leagues, they'll come at the parents and say, "Hey, if we don't find a coach, we don't have a team."
right.
So, I mean, for your dad to take that on and for it to kind of manifest into what you have become in terms of youth soccer is huge. So kudos to your dad for taking that on. I'm sure he loves watching you do what you do now. Um, he probably understands the game a whole lot more than what he used to, and he's probably giving you pointers because that's your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's cool. Can you share a little bit of like, you said you grew up and outside of the rec leagues, you moved on to uh, club travel soccer.
Mm.
What kind of experiences do you remember in terms of like how your coaches were? What kind of things did you go through mentally, and how did your parents help you out through these games that we play?
So, to be honest, club didn't really blow up until about maybe 2008, 2009. Before that, there was club, but it was very small. It was a small, and if you played club, it was you were really, really, really good. So I had been approached maybe when I was like 12, 11. You want to come play for our club? Come try out, come try out, come try out. It never really manifested. My parents didn't really, like I said, my parents were still very, they knew that they knew soccer. They knew I loved it. They knew I was good at it. But the club thing was like, well, we got to go somewhere every weekend, and we got to pay this and this and this. And then there's team fees. And so it took a long time for them to even say yes. So I started playing for a team in Rialto, where I'm from originally. And then that in itself manifested to like almost anything. Like you go and you play against other teams, maybe teams that are better, and then they pick you. They don't pick you, but they look for, would you like to come maybe try out for us? So it manifested to where I ended up joining a team out here in Riverside, where I currently am now, and that team traveled. We went to Ohio, we went to Arizona, we went to Colorado, So it got me where I am today in terms of playing the game against greater competition. It got me literally all of my most favorite memories as a kid, traveling and going to these tournaments outside of the state, staying in hotels with your friends and messing around, doing that. I mean, that's those are the memories I have more than anything. Was soccer or sports. I did play a little bit of baseball, but soccer in itself were my memories ultimately.
Yeah. You kind of touched on, you do a lot of travel and you go here and you do that. And, you know, as a parent or an adult now, you're a coach.
Mhm.
You, as much as you enjoy those things, you also dread those things because, like, oh man, now I got to go over here and I can't even enjoy it. It's not even a vacation. Like, I'm spending all this money and I can't even enjoy it because we got a game at 10 and then we got a game at 2 and then we got a game at 5. And then the next day, if you win a game here, you're, playing 3 games that day. And we dread it as parents, right? And like you just said, though, those are your, as a kid, fondest memories, right? Those are the things that you remember.
Mhm.
Being a parent who did coach and then being a parent who let the other coaches coach at a travel ball level, I still was like, okay, we're traveling here, but you didn't do this and you need to do that. You need to perform this way. I never I doubt that my kid ever remembers how many at bats he had, or kids that you're coaching. I doubt that they're going to remember. Oh, I scored 2 goals that day. They're going to remember. Oh, we were, like you said, at the hotel hanging out. We went and we had these fun times and we did this and we did that. Um, when you were traveling and going through all that stuff, how was it with your parents? Because I'm sure that they had learned a little bit of the game at that point. Were they kind of ones that would stick it to you, or did they kind of leave you and let you do your thing?
I was lucky for the most part. My dad never really said much to me because I learned the game myself. I
Yeah.
learned the game from bottom to top by myself. You know, Outside of them driving me to practices and games, it was basically me learning the game, studying the game, watching the game. It took them forever just to watch soccer on TV. You know, um,
Yeah.
my mom was a little more, not so much like she, in terms of understanding the game. They never really told me anything. Like I said, I kind of had to do all on my own. But it was more of like if I was really sick and we had a game, it was like, well, you're going
Yeah.
to the game. Like I remember I had strep throat my senior year of high school, like day 2 of strep throat. I think I just started antibiotics. You feel like crap. You got a fever. Can't even. It feels like a knife in your throat. And we had a senior game, must-win game to get into CIF playoffs, and I'm just dead. And I just hear from the sideline, "Get your ass back in the game."
That
Like a little
was mom.
5'3", yeah, a little 5'3", Italian lady yelling at you from the sideline to get back in the game. You know, so it was more of like the you have to play
Yeah.
situation, not like you need to do this on the field, you need to do this on the field, you need to do this on the field. You just got to play. I don't know what's going on a lot of the time in terms of understanding the full aspect of the game, and they understand the rules and all that stuff. They got all that down, but it was just more like, well, you better get in the game, and it was
Yeah.
almost always from my mom, never really from my dad. My dad was super like chill about mostly everything for me.
Okay. And just going back, taking yourself back to that time where you would hear your mom or hear that, or like, you got to be on the field.
Mhm.
What kind of things do you go through mentally? Are you like, oh, just shut up already, or are you like, you know what? Yeah, I do need to get back on the field. What?
More of the second thing. Like yeah, you know what? I do got to be on the field. Like I'm an important enough player to where I need to be on the field. Um, and I wanted to be on the field. If I'm being honest with you, like even if I couldn't do it or I physically was just I was lucky. I never really got hurt until you get older and you stop stretching. But
Yeah,
um, I was lucky enough to never really get a terrible injury ever. I think I maybe have missed 2 or 3 games in my life, like in terms of organized soccer to injury. So
yeah,
I was lucky enough in that retrospect. But the couple of times that were, I don't know if I can do it today. Like I heard it from behind me that you better do it,
yeah,
you know, other than outside of like 2 or 3 times where I physically couldn't do it.
yeah,
I think it was like a knee injury or something that put me out for a little bit in soccer, but a couple weeks at most. So I was fortunate, very
yeah. And
fortunate.
it kind of, that kind of thing, at least for you, I'm sure it affects people differently, like having to hear that. But at least for you, what
Mhm.
it sounds like is that it gave you that extra boost of motivation. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, you know what? I do need to be out there,
Mhm.
and it helps you with your mental game because you're like, okay,
And I think a
I,
lot of it for me is like I had friends who were just as good as me, whose parents pushed them in a different way. Like my
yeah,
parents never forced me to get on the field. I wanted to be on the field. I have
yeah,
friends who are just as good as me whose parents forced them. And by 16, 17, they didn't want nothing to do with the game anymore. All
yeah,
that talent, all that ability, just no drive. To where
mm-hmm,
I went backwards. I had to learn the game myself. I had to love the game on my own.
yeah,
There was no outside force, like for example, someone like you who played baseball, right? So
mm-hmm,
you kind of, for lack of a better word, kind of forced it on Derek, a love for a game that he didn't even know from the beginning.
yep,
As where they didn't even know the game. My parents just said he just wants to run. Put him in soccer, you know.
yeah,
That's basically what happened. So the love for the
yeah,
game came from myself within,
yeah,
which is a different story than maybe some people whose parents are, ex players themselves. And my dad played basketball. My mom played a little bit. And she claims there's newspaper clippings of her playing softball, but my dad played ball. My dad coached ball.
yeah,
Basketball was his game. My oldest brother was a baseball player. Played in college, played at Northridge. Blew out his arm. He was a catcher. You know, um,
yeah,
he was kind of like forced on it, but he loved it. It was different because he loved it. But
yeah,
for me, this game I found a love for myself. I
yeah,
had zero outside influences on me. Like my parents were like, I'm sure they hated taking me to go play soccer, but they didn't know it. Maybe they didn't
mm-hmm.
hate it because they knew it made me happy, but they were like, "Oh, can it be like baseball or something that he loves, or can it be
Something
like
we know.
basketball?" Like they're
Yeah,
happy that I'm doing it, but they would wish maybe a little bit at the time it was something else.
yeah. No,
So
no, I get it.
yeah,
I definitely get it. Um, what? So they put you in soccer. You mentioned that you played a little bit of baseball. Did you play basketball growing
I
up?
played a year of basketball, dude. I was so bad. I every time I got the ball, I just took a shot.
And was that though? Did you kind of have that mentality though? Like, I don't even want to be here because
Yeah,
I'm
by
just
the end
getting
of it, I did.
physically.
By the end
Yeah.
of it, I did. I wanted nothing to do with basketball. I did it. I did it because I was slightly athletic and I could run and pass the ball. Like I couldn't shoot, couldn't dribble, but it was just more of like a well, let's my parent my and unfortunately, I didn't just start playing soccer like now like these like two sport. I was playing soccer and baseball until I was at least 14, maybe 15,
Yeah.
going back and forth between the two. And it wasn't until 15 where I completely dropped baseball, you know? So maybe for me, it was like a mental refresher to get away from the game for a little bit, to find that love for it. So I mean, I didn't start playing it on a 365 7 days a week thing until about 15, 16 years old, which is now different. These kids are doing club, playing just soccer or playing just baseball or travel ball at 7.
Yeah.
We're doing it year round. So I
Yeah.
at least was able to jump back and forth. And I was
Well,
playing football for my school's team, my elementary school. Like I was doing other things, which
yeah.
made me miss things a little more. But I never really truly loved everything else like I loved soccer. It was
Yeah.
always like it was fun to do. It was fun to win. I was good at it, but outside of basketball, I was so bad at basketball. But everything else, yeah, it was cool, fun, but I didn't have that love like I had for soccer. Yeah,
Yeah. And you could tell when someone loves something when they describe it as beautiful.
right.
You just said earlier, soccer is a beautiful game,
Beautiful
and
game.
that's the way I describe baseball. It's
Hmm.
beautiful.
Hmm.
I love it. I love the way it smells. I love it's
Right.
something that's
Right.
indescribable,
Right.
right? And that's cool though that you at least experience those things. But like you said, you came to love this on your own.
Yes. Yeah.
Mentally, you said this is
This is what I want to do.
whatever. Yeah, this is the Mount Rushmore of what I have or I've wanted to do,
Hmm.
which is it's a great thing to see, and it's true because there are I'm not gonna say there are very few, but there are few people who choose to go and coach it on their own without having a kid that's involved in it.
Hmm.
And that's what you did. You went and you decided to coach these kids. You said they started at 11, and there were some of those kids I'm sure that have been playing soccer since they were 4, maybe even smaller than that.
Hmm.
In your experience, have you seen, now that you're coaching, have you seen where these kids have been playing for so long and maybe their parents are forcing them to do it, to where they've gotten a little older and it's caused a burnout where they just don't want to do it anymore?
Yeah. For some kids, yes, you can see there's a burnout on their face. There's this is the end of it for me. And they were like I said, that team in itself started when they were about 6 or 7. They had a coach. His name is Ruben. He still coaches. We coached together on this team. He asked me to come in about 11, when they turned 11, 12 years old. He said, "Hey man, like, I know you know the game. We had been friends. Do you want to co-pilot this with me?" I said, "Absolutely. I would love nothing more." But back to your point, these kids, yeah, like there are a few, you could see it. They're tired. They love it, but they know this is it. And I think that might, for some of them, a couple of them, it might be permanent, but for the other ones, it might be just temporary because they are burned out. And just in the last month, we've been to Dallas, to Arizona, to Tucson, back to Carlsbad. We have played 6, 9, 10, 11 90-minute games in a month, which is way too much.
Yeah.
So the burnout is there, and we're getting to the end, and some of them know that, and some of them are happy, but like I said, for maybe a couple, it'll be permanent. Like, I'm done. I might play with some friends or in an adult leagues or something. For some of them, it'll be like they'll take some time off and then go, man, I kind of miss it. Let me mull around and maybe there's a semi-pro team in the area that I can, or, I still have my eligibility for junior colleges. Let me mull around.
Yeah.
Some of them, I think the generations are a little bit different now. These kids are, for lack of a better word, a little bit lazier. And you just got to kind of, they're just lazy. Like, they just don't, like, they get content in the situation that they're in the, well, I know what Jake's like. I know what Ruben's like. I don't need to do anything extra, and that's a mindset that like I see a lot of them have right now because they're kind of tired of it. And listen, 7 years is a long time. I'd be tired of listening to me for 7 years.
Yeah.
So I understand where some of their brains are at. They're like, oh, Jake's yelling at me again. Jake's getting on me again. Like, when is enough enough? We're winning. Like, so I could see that in some of them. And then some of them still kind of have that drive. The drive is still there. You see it in them. You see it. They're the first ones at practice. They're the loudest in the games. Like, they want to be there. They don't want
Yeah.
this ride to end. So I got a
Yeah.
little bit of mix of everything, to be honest with you. I'm
So
19 kids.
yeah, 19 is a lot of kids, especially 18, 17, 18, however old they are,
Yeah,
under
17, 18.
19.
Mhm.
That's yeah, crazy.
They're young men at
Um,
this point. Hey, you kind of have to
yeah.
like it. They're young men.
Let me ask you this though, like when you see that and you notice that as a coach,
Hmm.
you know, and maybe someone who can be, I mean, not maybe, can be viewed as a mentor, obviously, because you helping them transition into adulthood.
Mm.
What kind of things can you say that you've seen have helped uh kind of help them mentally at least get through to where let's at least finish the ride.
I was just
Let's at least get through it.
kind of talking to them, letting them know, like, hey guys, this is the end for some of you guys. Like, we've done all this hard work. We have X amount of weeks left. Let's just keep pushing. It's almost over. The finish line is there. Let's keep doing it. Let's just keep pushing. And like I said, there's your 18-year-old boys. It's hard to motivate them when they don't want to be motivated. So you can really just do the best you can. You
Yeah.
could, you could keep grinding in that point of like, come on guys, like we got to stay with it. We got to still train hard. We still got to play hard. We can't take any of this for granted. And another thing I tell them all the time is you just really never know who's watching. We're playing in a
Yeah.
top league. We're playing good teams. You just never know who's watching. One of the worst teams in our league, their coach is Bakersfield College coach. It's a junior college. But if we go and play that team again and get all lackadaisical and half-ass everything, it's just going to be like, But if we take care of business and look good, who knows? You could be playing on a college team and do your 2 years at a JC or 1 year at a JC and transfer to a 4 year. You
Yeah.
just never know who's watching. So that is another thing you have to tell them. Like, hey man, you just never know who's in the stands. You never know who just might be there. At this age,
Yeah.
this is the age now where you want to get seen. Because once you hit 22, 23, it's hard. It's hard,
Yeah.
especially in soccer. Because your half-life in soccer is like 26. Like that's it. Once you hit 26 or 29, that's your prime.
Yeah.
Unless you're a god like Messi or Ronaldo or one of these guys, it's impossible. Once you hit 23, it's hard. It's
Yeah.
take as hard as it is right now and multiply it by 10,000. It's
Yeah.
so hard. So you try to keep them going at 18, 17. Like, hey guys, you're still in that ripe age where you can. I didn't get really, really good until I turned 18. That's when I
Yeah.
took a step up. It took me a while. I was always good, but that now soccer brain, understanding movement and pressing and all that stuff, it didn't really completely come full circle until I hit 17, 18. I was a really late bloomer.
Yeah.
So those are just kind of some points you'd like to hone in on them and hope that they land. Like I said, they're 18.
Yeah.
You can just tell them, but you can't force them to believe it.
Yeah.
But you just try to give them your own personal experience.
So let's kind of take a step back a little bit and go back to kind of when you were playing. You said you kind of got real good and your soccer brain changed and everything around 18,
Mhm.
right? What was that transition like? Like mentally, what clicked in your brain? What was it?
Studying the game, watching the game. When you watch a soccer game, I tell kids who are serious, and you can tell which kids are good and which kids are coordinated and can play. I tell them, you can watch the game, but watch the movement. Watch the players' movement. Watch the talking, the communication. watch how players are looking always, or these players in the positions. Look how their heads are always on a swivel, always turning, always looking. They're 4 steps ahead before the ball even gets to them. That's where you learn. It's one thing to just watch the ball. Anybody can watch a ball. You're not going to learn anything. You're going to see a guy do a step over and get to the goal and shoot. Okay, that's fine. But what happened that led up to it? How did he get to that? Or the guy that they passed a through ball through, and it's just him and the goalie. Okay, but look at the run and the movement that got him free. Or look at the guy who passed the ball to the guy who passed the ball to the guy who passed the ball, who was already looking at the guy, going in behind and passing it to him. Like, that's where you learn the game. You want to take it step by step, slow it down. It's one thing to score goals, and that's all fun and cool. Don't get me wrong, but who's creating?
Yeah,
and that's where you learn the game. Can you create? Unless you're just some crazy goal scorer who's just a robot, which you can find. But you want to learn the game by watching the field, not necessarily just the ball.
Yeah. So when you started doing that and you started watching it and learning, I'm sure everything started clicking. When everything ended, right? Did you know it was over?
I knew when. No, I didn't think it was over. I knew I could play at the next level in terms of collegiately. I had a tryout with Cal Poly Pomona. I got sick during the tryout, and that was it. Got my door shut. And that threw me back mentally. I stopped playing for 6 months, 7, 8 months, and then just kind of was just mulling around in some adult leagues, and then got a call from an old coach to come play this league called USL, which is like the 5th tier of professional soccer. It's not important. It's not important in terms of, and it was fun. But with that, mentally that hurt, the Cal Poly Pomona one. Because another problem I had, unfortunately, is I was a grade up from where I should have been.
Okay.
So all my teammates were seniors in high school when I was already out of high school. And when they all turned freshmen in college, my college coach or my club coach went to coach at a junior college in the area. So I wasn't able to, I had already wasted an eligibility year at Cal Poly Pomona. So it was like they weren't going to really take me, and if I had been back 1 year, I could have gone to the JC route and so on. Even if JC was the end, which it probably would have been. That's about the level I was. Good enough for that, and that's about it.
Which is damn good.
Yeah. And it took a while to understand that point in itself, and that's about the level, these are my club teammates, and I'm starting on the same team as them, and they're starting in a JC. Like, you can't tell me I couldn't have played for that team. And this is what my brain was telling me.
Yeah.
So that threw me back, but then that same coach got me into a Super 20, which is like a USL low level thing, which was fun. And then I played a couple more years, a couple years later for another UPSL, USL low level thing. And then that was it. But I probably capped out at where I probably was. I'm not big. I'm not the most technical or beautiful player. I'm just fast, and I have a really good work ethic.
Yeah.
And I understand the game. I understand movement and that in itself got me farther than anything, because there were players much more skilled than I was, always. But it was my work ethic and my speed. I literally was the fastest player on the field, and my work ethic that got me where I was. And the love and the wanting to do it, the first one at practice, the staying after practice and doing some small stuff, And there was some burnout for sure, but I just love the game too much.
That sounds like reminds me of a quote, a Derek Jeter quote. A big Yankee fan, sorry. But where he says he wasn't the most talented, but
Mm.
you know, nobody was ever going to outwork him.
Yeah.
He knew that. He knew that as a player.
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't got to be.
And that no, you don't. I mean, what you've just expressed right now is the complete truth because you have someone who has more talent than you but doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going to go way farther if you care.
Yeah.
So let's kind of rein in on that. You said, mentally that Cal Poly Pomona thing was kind of what, it was rough, right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of things made it rough? Like what played in your head?
The one shot, and that's it. I had one tryout, one training session, and I had a stomach flu.
Yeah.
So I was barfing everywhere.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get through it. And that in itself was the end. I would try to email the coach and get him to, he just said, yeah, I just don't think you have it. That was it. That was my shot.
Yeah.
And it happens.
And at that level, it's cutthroat. They don't.
And I cried. I called my dad crying. I'm not afraid to admit it. I called him crying. Said I blew it. I blew it. But it is what it is. I mean, it's all full circle. Who knows where I'm at now? Where I'm at now, if that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this though. What kind of things did you do mentally to get out of there?
Start playing again. Just started playing again. That's it. Literally all that happened. I stopped crying, not crying, but stopped being. I cried that day, and then that was it. And I just got back playing again.
Yeah.
Joining leagues and just rediscovering, getting back into good shape and rediscovering a love for the game. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need to go into background, but I've known you for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I might have known you at that age. And one thing that I could say about you is, yeah, you do have that drive. Not that you did, you do. It's clear, and don't take this the wrong way, but you're stubborn.
Super.
Right?
Super stubborn.
So that in itself is, I would say, kind of what led you out of that hole. You were stubborn about it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I just got to get out of here.
Yeah, stubborn is my middle name.
It is what it is, though, right? Hey, that's what you did mentally to get out of it. You continued playing, and you moved on, and life goes on. Because now, like you said, you wouldn't be where you're at now if that didn't happen.
Yeah, and I was at a crossroads. Like I said, it was lucky. I was lucky enough to get a phone call from my last club coach and said, "Hey, man, we're going to start this team up."
Yeah,
and you're in if you want it. So that and also like I just started playing again, but that really kind of like pushed. So I had to get back into like good fitness for that. These are high level games, 19, 20-year-old kids. So that in itself was helpful too. So I got a little bit lucky there too.
So let's kind of play out a little situation.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably, like you're saying, toughest mentally for you. And you're kind of at the age, you were at that age where these are the kids that you're coaching now, right? If we could be, let's say we're in your kind of team huddle while you guys are going through whatever, and you have kids that are on your team that are going through something similar like that. What would be something that you, like maybe some type of advice or something that you would give them to help them get out of that?
Out of that, like, explain, like, out of that, like, feeling of what exactly?
Out of that feeling like you blew it.
I mean, I'm just telling them, keep going. Keep pushing. If you truly love the game, and if you truly want to keep playing, and if it's something, if you love it, don't stop doing it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to hate yourself for quitting.
Yeah.
Even if you don't hate yourself in the moment, a year from now, 5 years from now, you're going to hate yourself when you're 30. And you're going to go, God damn it, why didn't I just do it?
Yeah.
Why didn't I just take that offer to that D3 school in Michigan?
Yeah.
That nobody's ever heard of. Why didn't I just do it? Like I should have just done it, you know, something like that, right? Just you're gonna regret it later. And even if you say you don't, you're going to, because you're going to
Yeah.
be driving by a field and you're going to be seeing kids training and you're just going to go and you're going to miss it. You're just going to miss it. You're going to miss the game. And I won't say 100% of the people, but 98% will. You are going to find those people who truly are just not going to miss it because they just don't, you know. But some do. I mean, some don't. But 98%, even if it's not 100% missing it to where you're like super sad, you're going to have that. The feeling's going to show up eventually. And you don't want it to, you know, to go to just fly by. And that's another point I try to get on these kids is time is short. You guys are running out of time in this. Make what you have left worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's a big thing. If you love it, why would you stop?
All right.
Why stop doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Let's kind of transition into, you know, you getting into the coaching thing. You said that, you know, your buddy called you, asked you to kind of co-pilot it, and it kind of took off from there. What age were you there, and what was the deciding factor for you to do that?
I was like 24, 23, 24. And to be honest, it was just kind of something to do. Like I knew I liked coaching. I knew I liked the competitive aspect. Obviously, I did it. So I loved it in that sense. But it was like, I didn't really have much thought getting into it. There wasn't like that, I really want to do this drive. But there wasn't like that, you know, it was just kind of like, okay, I got nothing else better to do.
Yeah.
You know, I literally didn't. So I was just like, well, fuck, I'm in.
Yeah.
And that's really how it, I'm being honest, that's how it happened. That's, we played together on some adult indoor league and that was it. That was how it happened.
So when you finally got into it, how quickly did you say, yeah, this is what I want to do?
Well, when I got into it, the team had kind of stalemated. They kind of just they were good when they were younger, and then they just kind of plateaued. You know, and I remember the first season I had with them, I went to, well, let me take you back to the first practice. Ruben comes to me and goes, I'm their friend. I need you to not be their friend. I need you to be their coach. And I said, sure, that's easy for me. You're saying be an asshole? I said, that's the easiest thing you've ever told me to do.
That's tough for you.
Yeah, so tough. I was like, it was like, all I had to do was just wake up in the morning and I'm already in character, you know? So he comes to me in the first practice, I've got them running and they're 12, 11 years old. You know, they don't really know me. Their mom and dad don't know me. And I'm riding them. You know, this is how we're doing things now. You know, and I was telling Ruben, I said, there's a lot we have to fix here. There's a lot we have to fix here. We need players. This isn't good enough. You need to get rid of some of these kids. And that's just the unfortunate part of travel. Club soccer. Sometimes, you know, kids just aren't, you know, they're just not good enough. And it's hard for some coaches to tell parents that. Like, hey, like I just don't think your son's cut out for this at this point in time. You know, maybe a lower level team, you know, because they were moving up to at that point the highest level. And I'm looking at them going, Ruben, we don't have the team to compete. This isn't we're not, you know, and they're coming up these highs of, you know, we're finished, we're fourth place. And I go, Ruben, you're fourth place in a division, and there's another division in which they're taking those 4 teams. You're going to finish in 8th place next year. Okay. So the next season, out of 12 teams, we finished in 9th. You know, we are, you know, and also back to the first practice, and we can get back into that. These parents did not like me. They did not. Who's this guy? And we had 2 kids quit.
Yeah.
That's because I'm making them work. You know, I'm no longer telling them what to do. Or, sorry, I'm no longer asking them to do things. I'm telling them this is what they need to do. You know, if you guys are serious, and it starts about that age, 12 years old, 11, 12 years old, like Okay, now you guys need to start honing in. I mean, they're starting to hit puberty, some of them. I had some 12-year-olds that look 15 and some 12-year-olds that look 9,
Yeah.
So I went hard and I came in maybe a little too hard, and I still go a little overboard because I'm passionate.
Yeah.
But I went there with a purpose, and if this is what you guys want, then this is what we'll do. And now we're the number 1 ranked team in Southern California for our age group. Number 1. 30th in the nation out of all the teams in the country. 30th in the nation, number 1 in Southern California.
How many teams in the country?
For our age group, probably over 2,000-3,000. Probably
30.
We're 30.
And
one in this region in Southern California, because Southern California and Northern California are so big.
Yeah. Was there a meeting with the parents? Like, hey, this is a new guy.
No.
Or was it just, hey, you're in and this is
Well, Ruben basically said, hey, this is the new coach. This isn't a discussion. He's going to be here to help. And
yeah.
Like I said, that first year was rough. We lost every game but 3 out of 12, 11. So, and then it took a while and some changes from myself, some changes for the team in itself, just to find what worked, and then we built off that.
What kind of changes did you make in yourself?
Having to realize who I can get on and who I can't get on more. Who had the mental capacity that I can ride them a little bit harder, and who didn't. Or who was just not, who I knew deep down, this might be a mean thing to say, wasn't maybe at the level enough to where, okay, I'm not going to put too much time into them. I'm going to be positive and good for them, but I'm not going to ride them because I know I'm getting everything I can out of them. There's not much more I can get. But there's something I look at and go, okay, I need to ride this kid because there's a plethora of talent and ability in this kid that needs to be pushed out.
Basically. So when you have a group of 11, 12-year-olds that lose way more than they win, what is the reaction? Both mentally from the kids and the parents.
It's terrible. Everybody knows when you lose, it's always the coach's fault.
Of course.
Coach is not doing this right. The coach is not doing that right. What are the coaches doing? And it was terrible. The morale was terrible. We're just gonna go lose again. Like it was that. It was that kind of feeling. And I'm being completely honest with you. I still have all those kids minus 1 or 2. So I have that same team, and don't get me wrong, I've added 5 or 6, 7 very good players, but I still have that core group of kids.
Yeah, but just to add on that, because some people may not understand, you can't add those 6, 7 players like you said that you added that are really good. You can't add those players unless you have a good team,
right?
Because they don't want to go play for a bad team.
100%. 2 of them I added by luck. And then a couple of them were just from friends. Hey, you got this team, hey, we're winning. What the turning point for my team was, we were playing nationals, and we were playing at the time the number 1 team in the state. Okay, we had snuck through to the knockout rounds by luck. Okay, and we're playing the number 1 team. No one's giving us a chance, right? Obviously, I wasn't giving us a chance. In my head, like I'm not telling them that, but I'm like, got to drive to Temecula just to, and I went to Ruben, the other coach, and I said, if we're going to go for this, we got to go for it the right way. I made a formation change in my lineup in terms of I added an extra defender to so instead of playing with 4 defenders like the normal team plays, I said, if we're going to defend, we're not going to have the ball. They're going to have a lot of the ball. So we're going to have to defend good. So I took my best player and put him in defense. And sure enough, 5 minutes left in the game, we just get a half chance, we score, we win. And it was a complete turning point for the team. And to this day, we still use that formation. And I will say everything since then, and we've had our ups and downs, but we've been climbing ever since then. That was
So
like,
what is the formation that you use now?
so I used 5 defenders in the back, an attacking midfielder, a holding midfielder, and 2 wingers and a forward. Okay, but my wing defenders play in as attacking players when we have the ball, but I always have 3 players in the back because my 2 guys that I was playing in the back, very good, but were slow at that time. They were much
Hmm.
slower. This is the age 13, 14 where kids are now either taking off or they're like, they're still waiting to grow into their bodies. So they
Yeah.
hadn't quite got there yet. They were very good, but when you're playing a 14-year-old that looks 18, who runs like they're 18, it's hard.
Yeah.
So I just switched up formations. We won the game, and then ever since then, it's just been positive. I mean, we've had our losses, don't get me wrong, and our disappointments, but we're now a team that people look at on the schedule. I mean, they rankings are all there. They go online, they see, oh, man, this is the number 1 ranked team in the state. Geez, we gotta do this right. You know what I mean? We gotta bring it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you as a coach, you knew and you realized how much talent you had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or at least potential, of what they can do. And like you said, that's where everything clicked. That was the turning point. That's where they saw, hey, we could do some.
Mm-hmm.
We could do some damage here. We could win some big games. Um, did you notice at that after that game though? Did things start to change mentally for them? Like, was it?
Yeah, like we can beat anybody.
Yeah,
And I was telling them that. I was like, when you guys play good like this, you can beat any team. Yeah, that we maybe got a little lucky and one bounce went our way, one bounce didn't. But this is soccer, dude. You could beat anybody on any given day, especially if you have the talent.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that was what I basically told them, and like I said, we beaten teams with 4, 5 kids D1 committed with my little group of lovable band of Inland Empire kids. You know what I
yeah.
mean? We're beating kids. We went to Dallas last year and beat a team with 6 kids who were already pledged to D1 colleges. And not only did we beat them, we embarrassed them.
Yeah.
We made them look bad in front of college coaches. So
Do you think that's a mental thing? Like, what I mean by that is, do you think that the other team at that point in time, they're in their mental and in their mental game that they play, they said, well, we're a bunch of D1 commits already, or
could be.
we beat anyone.
I love when my team is underestimated. We love it.
Yeah.
We strive on being underestimated. We live for it.
Yeah.
So, and that's a mentality that I try to tell them. Don't ever underestimate anybody because, like I said, you were that team 4 years ago, guys. We were at the bottom of the barrel, coming to practice after loss, after loss, after loss, after. It's all right, guys. It's all right. And then to where now we're expected to win.
Yeah.
And when we don't, it's, well, what the hell's going on?
How does that affect them mentally, where they know they're
It
expected
puts
to
some
win?
stress on them. But I told them, when people, now you're in your lives, when someone expects something from you, you can either rise to the occasion or you can back down from it. And if you
Yeah.
back down from it, then maybe this isn't for you. But
Yeah.
if you can rise to the occasion, then okay, more power to you.
Yeah.
They're 18 now. You have to treat them like young men. They're not kids anymore. They're
No.
kids, but they're not.
Yeah. I mean, because the show is kind of based on mentality, would you say even though they're 18, young men, that maybe sometimes the mentality is still that of a little boy?
Oh, for sure. For sure. And
How,
some of it is like cultural. I'll say their parents baby them, and I coach a team of 19 kids. All 19 are Mexican, and their mommies love them so much. Their moms love them like no other woman will love them like their moms do.
Yeah.
And I try to kind of beat that out of them. Like, you guys got to get out of this like comfortability of just, I got to do things for me. Like, I can't like rely on them to do it for me, or them to call the coach, or them to, I have to do this.
Yeah.
I got, probably 10 or 11 of them still don't even do their own laundry. You know what I mean? This is like, I'm trying to mold them into young men, and I need them to mentally get out of that mental state of adolescence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard. But, and it's harmless for the most part, but I don't want them to continue that.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, they're young men, not men. How many, this is just for a question for me at this point. How many times, even though they're young men, do they like, oh, I forgot this, or I didn't bring that?
Oh my gosh, I left my socks at home. I left my jersey. Like, in high-end tournaments, I left my jersey back at the hotel. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
All the time, every weekend, almost. It feels like. Anyone have any
Yeah.
extra black socks? And luckily, we have some more mature ones who always bring extra clothes. So
Yeah.
it happens.
I mean, that question was for me just because my son's getting, Derek's getting there. So, but he's a pretty responsible kid. It's just funny to think about, because I remember when I was at that age too, where, oh damn, I forgot something basic. You know what I mean? I forgot water.
Forgot my shin guards.
Oh, yeah.
That's another one. Does anyone have any water? And I got like 4 kids sharing one half a water bottle.
That they found at the bottom of their bag.
The bottom of their bag. It's got like those. It's all filled with like those turf beads, a little black turf beads. Yeah. And I got them sharing that because they just can't seem to remember their water, or how many of them that bring water that leave their $100 thermoses that their parents bought them. I go, whose water is this? Oh, it's mine. And that I deal with that so much.
Let's talk about this. You've had these kids. I mean, that's a long time. The year after year. I mean, it's probably flown by, and you've seen them go from little kids to, like you said, young men.
Mm-hmm.
What I realized as a coach, coaching kids and seeing them now as they're older, is I realize, or kind of my goal kind of in the beginning is like, not to really teach them fundamentals, but to kind of teach them things of life and help them grow and mature. But what I've come to realize is they've laid a bigger impression on me than I think I may have on them.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back and kind of reflecting, because like you said, your time with these boys is already almost up. What kind of things have they impressed on you?
Just kind of like, I wouldn't say there's too much, but it's just like the little things, the dumb little things that they do or say, or they do like stupid little handshakes and stuff like that. Or they'll have dumb little phrases or something that they say. Just like kind of like stuff like that. That would be more, nothing maybe like in terms of me, maybe it's just kind of like a more patience with kids, which is still a very short leash. But I wouldn't say like, I mean, because I did get these kids young, but a little bit older, like 11, 12. Like they've already kind of shaped an identity.
Yeah.
By 12, 11 years old, so I don't like, it's hard because I got them a little bit older, but for them, it'll always just be kind of like the little things that they do, like the little one-liners or the things that they call each other and stuff like that. That stuff. It's more the memories that they've impressed
Yeah.
on me than anything that maybe that is for myself, like a behavioral change or a lifestyle change. It's nothing like that, but um, just like the little memories, I would say.
Yeah. Let's kind of flip the question. I know that you're at a real competitive high level,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you want to win soccer games.
Mm-hmm.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's
Well,
I
there,
want to win
yep.
soccer games.
Mm-hmm.
That's your goal, right? But there's got to be a little part of you in there somewhere where you say, I also want to give them something for the future. What kind of what is that thing that you wish that you could just pass on to them?
You can do anything you want as long as you really genuinely put your mind to it. And it doesn't matter where you come from or what you look like or who you grew up around. If you want something, you can go get it. I'm from the same place they are. The other coach is from the same place they are. We both own our own or have our own places. We're both college educated. You know, if you truly, truly want something, go get it. And I
Yeah.
hope the discipline that I've given them is a building block of, even though we were so down early on when they were younger, it gets better with hard work.
Yeah.
Nothing's holding you back. You are the only person that is holding yourself back. In today's age, I'm sorry, it's just you. Some things are a little harder to get, but if you truly want it, it's there to go. It's there to get. You just got to want it. The help
Yeah.
is there. There's
Yeah.
people around you that want to help. I want to help. The other coach wants to help. Your friends want to help. Even if your parents may not want to help or they expect maybe you to, okay, you're 18 now, soccer's done, time to get your pair of work boots. You're coming to work with me tomorrow. That's
Yeah.
not what you, because that's what it is, unfortunately. If that's not what you want to do, then don't do it. Do what
Yeah.
truly makes you happy. And I'll ask some of these kids, some of the kids that are maybe a little lower on the academic spectrum. Hey, man, is there a subject you like? What's your favorite subject? What do you like? I think I kind of like math, I can build on that. I can make a conversation out of that. Okay, well, what's something maybe you want to do? Stuff, questions like that. Because some of them don't have that parental push.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that parents don't care because they're paying $1,600 a year to have their kid play soccer. But once it's done, they're going to look at them like, okay, now what are you going to do? Without any type of like background, like, well, damn, I don't know. I really don't know. And I don't want that. Or I want to have some type. I don't need them to go to colleges declared with their major and, but have an idea, just something, some type of plan. Go and if you need to go to JC and do your GE or whatever it is, I forgot what it's called, your whatever, do your prereqs or for whatever, then go do that.
Yeah.
Just get moving. Okay, because what I do now only requires an associate's degree, and I do okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go do it at your local community college.
Yeah.
Have some type of something, just something. Don't just wake up and go, I don't know. I don't know anymore. And that's just kind of what I want for them.
And kind of unfortunately, kind of the area that we're in, the area that we're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
it's unfortunate because where a lot of them go.
It's what's expected of them.
Oh, of course.
And that's what I'm trying to push out.
Yeah.
Because your teacher may not care about you, or your counselor may not care about you, or your mom and dad expect you to grab the work boots when you turn 18. That's not what I want for you.
Yeah.
And if that's not what you want for yourself, then come on, let's go. Let's do something else.
Yeah.
When you've been told that this is who you are, this is what you're going to be, then you've been told that your whole life, that's kind of what you turn into. And it happens to a lot of kids.
Oh, yeah.
I know many, many kids who are much better than me who are working, and this isn't a shot at anywhere else worker, but who are a lot smarter, and they're working at Amazon. And it's not a shot at anybody that works at Amazon. It's not a shot at anybody that works at a warehouse. But I know that's not what they wanted.
Yeah.
And they're unhappy. If you want to be that, then fine, be that. That's what makes you happy. But they didn't want that. But they were told this is who they are, and this is what you're going to be.
Yeah.
I have some that went the opposite way. That, after soccer, they went and got their degrees, and now they're engineers or something. But I don't want the story that they think is already written for them. I want them to write their own story.
Yeah.
I guess that would be a good way to put it.
No, I mean, that's the best way that you can put it. I mean, unfortunately, like I said, in this area, that's
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's so many just for people that aren't in this area. There's so many opportunities in this area for warehouse work. But there, like you said, there's nothing wrong with that. But if that's not what you want,
right,
then there's a mental game that needs to be played that you need to win to get out of that.
If it's something you're being forced to do because you need to, you don't have a plan, then it's just like you're going to become unhappy at some point. The money's only going to be okay for so long. It's not going to be sufficient, and you're going to be right back in the same place, struggling the same way their parents struggled. In this cycle, this circle. Yeah. You don't want that. You want. I tell you, you don't want to be your parents. You want to retire your parents. You want to do things that are going to help you and your family, in your community. You don't want to just be someone in the community. You want to help it.
Yeah.
You don't want to be another member of just this brain dead, get up, do nothing, go to work, come home, and just be sad all day society. Genuinely want to be happy with what you do in the best way that you can, Yeah. So that's just kind of something I try to tell them, and I hope that it hits. I hope that it does. And It may not hit for all of them, but I hope if it hits a few of them, then I'd be so happy.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the group that you have. A lot of them are coming up, on the end. What we kind of touched on it before we got on. How many are looking at some type of playing at the next level?
I have, what did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 currently committed to playing at the next level. No, 8. Forgot about that one. 9. No, I counted him. 8. So I have 8 currently committed at the next level. A couple of them already. Well, one already go. One is a little bit older. He's like me. He's at Cal State San Bernardino already.
Okay.
Not playing, but there at least. I have another one accepted at Cal State San Bernardino just to go there. So that's 10 that I know of already accepted and going to be playing or in college next year.
Yeah.
8 playing. So yeah, about 8 right now, and possibly more. Probably a few more, maybe 3 or 4.
So about
11 to 12.
We're batting about 500.
Yeah,
if we think about it.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy to think that from that area, a team that, what'd you say, started in Colton?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Colton is.
Anyone here's ever been to Colton,
It's, for lack of a better word, it's a pretty rough area.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, as a coach, mentally, that's got to be.
Oh, it's the best part of it. It's the number one. It's the number one. It's the number one most satisfying feeling of the whole thing. I don't care how many tournaments we win. I don't care how many games we win. I don't care about any of that. I care about their future.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see any of them doing nothing or getting into trouble. because I truly don't have any bad kids. Like, you feel like every team there's like a kid or two that, you know, you're like, damn, we got to watch this one. You know, I don't have any of those,
Yeah.
fortunately, that I know that are causing trouble. Like I don't have any of those, which is nice. Because the ones that you need to keep your eye on are just lazy. That's what you have to keep an eye on. Their laziness, not that they're out there tagging up walls or joyriding or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's I have good kids,
Yeah.
very good kids.
So with these kind of last few weeks left, what's your plan? What is it that you see for your future as far as like coaching goes?
Well, I've already been approached by a few teams to come and coach kids who are 7, 8 years old. Not doing it. I'm taking some time off. You know, as someone who works full time, nights, might I add. So there are times where I'm getting off at 6 a.m. and driving to San Diego and then coming home and sleeping. And sometimes, not all the time, I do pretty good at scheduling myself the correct way, waking up and going right back to work that night.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, I'm taking some time off. I need to mentally for myself get right. You know, get back in the gym, which has always been my mental stress. You know, play a little more adult league, which, hey, it is what it is. That's where I'm at. 30 years old. You know, can you believe I said that? 30 years old.
Yes.
Um, playing more, all stuff that's going to mentally help me.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of
Yeah.
where I'm at right now. But I'll get back into it. I can't stay away from the game. I love it too much. You know, I'll catch on somewhere. Probably in some.
Even even kids watching this or listening to this, they're gonna say, "Dang, even coaches go through mental stuff." What kind of games do you kind of play in your head other than just like I gotta put an extra defender here. I gotta make sure that this
I mean, the
wing goes
game
here.
just did I make the right substitution at the right time? Did I take this kid out at the right time? Could I have kept him in longer? Can I change this formation in any way? What do I need to do? You know, and it's hard for coaches too. Like, we're people, just we make mistakes. I make mistakes. I've admitted to mistakes to my team. Like, hey guys, I messed up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's going to make mistakes. Coaches make mistakes. Players make mistakes. Umpires make mistakes. Referees make mistakes. Right? When it's just kind of like, all right, well, listen, guys, I made the mistake. I'm sorry. And I learned from it, you know? And it's hard sometimes because I'm tired too. I'm just
Yeah.
as tired as them. You know, they get up, go to school, and play soccer. I get up, I work, I coach, try to go to the gym, try to see family, try to have a social, personal life.
Yeah.
Like, I got to do 6, 7 different things. So sometimes I get a little lackadaisical in myself.
Yeah.
Something suffers, and sometimes it's coaching that suffers. So I have to just kind of reel myself back in mentally. Like, hey, let's go. You got to lock back in. You're not just them. You're telling them to lock in. You got to lock in too.
Yeah.
We got to lock in, bro. I know you're tired. He works nights too. We got to lock in, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
We can't, you know, and there are many times where I've wanted to just stop. Just like kids. There are times too where you just want to stop. But you just gotta, like I could tell them, fight through it. Because if you were doing something else, you wouldn't be happy.
Yeah. No, I mean for sure. Um, just kind of adding on to that, you sound like you hold yourself accountable for some of the mental things that you go through, and you kind of make a mistake or whatever you feel it's a mistake. Um, how hard is it to deal with that? And then I'm sure you have parents on top of that adding their 2 cents.
I do not listen to the parents. I do not talk to the parents. I have told the parents I do not care. This is me. This is what I did. I do not care what their opinion is. I coach this team. If you guys want to come out 2 times a week for 2.5 hours and every game on the weekend and come coach with us, or start your own team and coach, you're more than welcome. But what I say goes, and we live and die with my decisions or Ruben's decisions, and that's it. And parents are going to say stuff. They're going to make their comments. You can't stop. Parents ruin kids' sports. They're the worst. Okay? They're the worst.
Say it again.
Parents ruin kids' sports. You guys ruin it. You make it unfun for everybody. Referees, coaches, and players alike. Okay? Your son's not messy. Okay, so I went to them and said, listen, this is what I do. If you have to ask me questions, you can ask me questions, but your opinions don't matter to me. I'm 10 steps ahead of you already. When you tell me I've made a mistake, I already know I've made the mistake, and I'm already 10 steps ahead of how to fix it. I'm way past you. And it's not a knock on parents' intelligence. It's not a knock on anybody's intelligence. It's just who I am. My brain works differently. You're not in bed at night looking up at the ceiling, thinking about what you did wrong. You're not in there, because we record our games on this app. You're not in there watching games back, looking at the mistakes. I'm doing those things.
Yeah.
So unless I know you're doing those things, your opinion will mean nothing to me. Even if you go ahead.
How is that received now?
Some receive it, some still think they're above it. But
even with the record and the success that has come from it.
Of course, we were in Dallas last year. We beat that Division I team, with all those Division I players. Very next game, we're playing a team from Monterrey, Mexico. They scored first, and it's, why aren't the coaches doing this? Well, why aren't the coaches doing that? 12 hours before, I was the greatest man on the planet.
Yeah.
Coaches or parents hugging me, and when we won nationals in Denver, they had parents crying and hugging me, and we got a big old standing ovation when we came back to the airport. As a coach, you can turn from hero to villain real fast.
Yeah.
Immediately after we were down 1-0, 12 hours later, I could already hear it. And my mom just happened to be there. My mom goes, man, those parents turn on you quick, don't they? I said, yeah, they do. Some of them do. Yeah, some of them, but I just don't pay any mind to it.
Yeah.
I mean, some comments are going to piss you off, but you just really have to just block it out. You just got to they're parents. They don't know. I'm sorry. Parents don't know. Like I said, unless they're out there at every practice, doing coaching, and at every game, I just don't want to hear your input. It's just, I don't care that you played semi-pro in Mexico. I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me. I mean nothing. Some of the greatest players ever were terrible coaches. Magic Johnson was one of the worst coaches. Diego Maradona was a terrible coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look at the guys who are great coaches. They were role players. Very rare is, Steve Kerr is one of the greatest coaches in the NBA. Steve Kerr was a great shooter, but he was a role player.
Yeah.
Steve Kerr wasn't winning you the game, other than that one time that he won the game because he told Michael to pass to him. But, I don't care about your background. I don't care that you're double my age. It just doesn't, you just have to block it out.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be some level of trust that they have within you to. I mean, they've stuck around for all these years.
For sure. They trust me. They not only trust me with coaching their kids, they trust me being a role model to their kids too. If you don't trust a coach, are you letting them take your kid to Dallas, Texas? Probably not.
Not a chance. Right? No.
Hey, I don't really trust this guy. And where are you guys going? He's driving you guys to Dallas? Yeah, no. Yeah, I've done it twice.
Yeah.
So there is a level of, they know that I'm a good guy who is only in it for them. And they've met my parents. They know, no funny business, right? They understand. Yeah. They trust me. I'm trustworthy to them. But at the end of the day, they're parents. They're
Of
always going
course.
to have something to say.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of getting to the end of this thing here, but there's a few other things that I want to touch on before we wrap it up.
Mhm.
You're dealing with 18-year-old, 17, 18-year-old young men
Mhm.
who deal with a lot of outside noise and who have access to internet, social media, stuff like that at their fingertips. Um, do you notice that kind of taking charge of them or kind of messing with their mentality? What do you notice as a coach?
So, yeah. So, these kids all have pages dedicated to their soccer, right? And it's all highlights. It's all good things that they've done and stuff like that. So, in a way, they're getting reinforced every time they get on their page about all the good things they're doing. So, in my head, I'm going, okay, well, I even implemented a rule for a short period of time. If we lose a game, you're not allowed to post a highlight. I don't care if you scored. Your highlight of the game means nothing. We lost.
Yeah.
What are you learning? Are you learning from watching you score a goal? Oh, scoring a goal means you're doing everything right. And what about when you miss or forget to defenders? Or what about if you forget to cover somebody or you lose your man on a corner kick and they score? You try to just keep them grounded that, it's not all highlights. I asked them, do you guys go back and watch the games or you just go watch where you scored? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, you're never going to learn just by watching positive things. That's not how you learn. You learn by, if you get something wrong on the test and you know it, or sorry, if you get something right on the test and you know the answer, what about the one you got wrong? Are you going to go back and talk about all the questions you got right? Well, no, you got to learn the questions you got wrong.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the same thing that I try to do with them. If you're getting things right, then okay, good. Then you've learned that. But none of you by any means are perfect. Because if you were, you're 18. There are professional players in the world right now who are 17, 18 years old who are playing professional European soccer or in MLS here in America.
Yeah.
Okay? They're not there and they're not even close to it. So don't tell me you got it all figured out. Because if you were that good, you'd be there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of what I tell them, that, try to stay off social media as much as possible and just learn from your mistakes. Who cares about your positive stuff? Like, it's great. I'm glad I have those. I have videos of me scoring goals when I was younger. I still have them, but and it's good to have for memories, but
Yeah.
don't use it as a tool of, well, I'm doing things right. you know that's what I try to do for them. At least that's what I try to tell them about social media. And in other retrospects, I mean, social media in itself is just awful. Just trying to get them to pay attention, you know, is hard or something if we're having a meeting because they want to be on their phones or stuff like that. But I wouldn't say social media plays too big of a part, other than kind of what I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty good.
You don't notice anything. I mean, even if you post something good, we all know that there's people out there that are making stupid comments.
Oh, for sure,
You,
for sure. Yeah, we have a kid who's pretty big on TikTok or something, and every time he posts something about our team, there's always these comments of, "You guys couldn't beat us," or "You're pretty sorry," you know.
yeah.
Like, that's the tournament you guys won. That's a pretty trash tournament. There's always that, and I just tell them, just
Yeah.
block it out, guys. If
Yeah.
they were that good, they wouldn't be in your comments.
Yeah.
If a kid is if a kid is truly better than you, look at all the kids that we played that are truly better than you. Do you think they're commenting on your stuff? Well, no, none of them have. Okay, exactly. So the kids that are telling you all this aren't as good as you. So don't give them the time of day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse
Yeah,
to have such access.
yeah. So I wish I could go back and watch my games when I was playing, beginning to end, a camera that follows the ball around, and the play. But I don't. We don't have that. They do, and you
Yeah.
can use that to your advantage, 100%. But, how much of it is too toxic when you're only looking at the positives and never any of the negatives?
Yeah.
That's how you learn. You got to learn by watching yourself make mistakes or making the mistakes.
Yeah, no, for sure. We're kind of in an age too where there are a lot of kind of specialized and personal training and personal coaches.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that? Coming, being a head coach of a team, what are your thoughts on that?
Just be careful with who you're getting involved with. Know who you're actually getting involved with. Know if people are trying to. There are a lot of scammers out there that can tell you, hey, give me this amount of money and I can get your kid this, train with me a couple of days a week. There's a lot of people, a lot of snaky people in this world. Some personal trainers can be amazing. I've had parents approach me to train their kids. I've done it a little bit. It's not my favorite thing to do. I don't like doing one-on-one training with kids. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
Just don't enjoy it too much. If it's somebody that I really know, or what I'll do is I'll tell them, look, I'll train them a couple times and I'll let you know what I think. I'm not going to sit here and steal your money and say I'm going to make your kid Ronaldo or Messi. I hate that. But you want to give me $50, train your kid for a month, a couple days a week, $100, and I can tell you by the end of it if I think that your kid is, at a certain level or what I think the level he's at, and I'll do that for you. But there are some. Training is good if you want it, but you can go look at Barcelona's training, individual training online. Grab some cones, some open grass, and do that for free. It's online. Yeah. It's there for you on YouTube. You don't need to go to a personal trainer, unless you're going maybe to the gym to put on a little bit of upper body weight or something like that's now we're talking completely different. Because believe it or not, I know people have always have this mentality that soccer is for scrawny people, but not anymore. Your average soccer player is over 6 feet tall now.
Oh, yeah.
6 foot, but it's the average height now, 6 feet, 6'1". And they're not 150 pounds anymore. They're 180, 190, and they're muscular. It's a muscular 180, 190.
Oh, yeah, I see that. Mbappe, or however you pronounce his name. That dude's, he's huge.
Yeah, I mean, there's another guy, for the people who know soccer here, his name's Erling Haaland. Go look at him. Guy's a brick wall of muscle. And
yeah.
That's another, you gotta, if you're going to somebody to put on some weight, some muscular weight, okay, that's fine. But if you're going to somebody for soccer training, I would definitely look into who they are and talk to people who have been to them before you just decide to give somebody your money.
As a team coach, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure that you've experienced some of your players maybe going and doing personal training. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it hinders your ability to coach them a little bit? Because I know myself, I coached baseball, and then I had this kid, or not this kid, but kids in particular that would come up and be like, oh, well, I have a hitting coach. And my mentality as the coach was, well, I'm not even going to pay attention to what you're doing, because I don't want your parents to feel like I'm changing what they're already spending money on.
Mm-hmm. Well, in soccer, it's a little bit different. So you don't have hitting coaches or fielding coaches that are going to make you. I mean, in soccer, there's one way to kick a ball properly. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to strike a ball, every coach who knows the game is going to tell you to strike it a certain way. There's no like, oh, well, I hold the bat this way, or I keep my foot right here, for say in baseball. There's look at baseball. How many players have the same batting stance?
None.
Okay. But how many players strike the ball with their laces in soccer the exact same way? Every single one of them. There's zero lean forward, get over the ball, put your laces through it. It's that simple. So the soccer stuff is more of like, when I think of trainers in soccer, I think of people who come to me or come to these kids and tell them, hey, if you train with me, I can get you a tryout here, a tryout here, a tryout here. That's where my issue is. In soccer,
Yeah.
it's much more black and white. Like if you're going to teach a kid individual drills, that's fine. Do individual drills, but it's not going to take away from a formation.
Yeah.
Formation is a formation is a formation. It's going to stay the same. If you're not playing individual drills are going to help you. They're going to help you get faster. They're going to help you, move quicker, move more, better laterally, maybe jump higher, but they're not going to make you defend in a formation better unless my whole team goes to somebody else and he tries something different,
Yeah.
But that's what would have to happen for that to happen, Now, if you're doing shooting drills, I would probably do the exact same shooting drills, So it's a little bit different in soccer. I would say. It's a much more different field in terms of, how to, stand on the rubber. Some coaches, when I pitched, I had a coach teach me, you're always on the leftmost part of the rubber. Stand there. When I got to high school, he wanted me to pitch on the other side. You're not going to get that. You're not really going to get that in soccer because defending as a center back is defending as a center back.
Yeah.
You can't teach if you're going to do defending for an individual trainer, you're going to do just one-on-one defending. That's not going to change really much in my, for me.
Yeah.
So it's just different. It's just different.
Yeah. No, I get it. We're pretty much at the end of this. I just, wanted to thank you for, your time and making the time. I know we scheduled this like last week. But I appreciate you, coming on and sharing, your stories and sharing the things that you have. But before we, completely cut out of here, um, again, this whole show just resonates around kids as well as, parents and coaches helping other parents, coaches, and kids win, the mental game upstairs. Um, what message? I know you shared something that you wanted to instill with your kids, right? The kids that are almost done. But what message do you want to leave them forever about just their mental game? I know you said that, don't give up and things like that. But what is it that you just want to tell them before we cut out of here?
Ooh. I mean, this probably would go for any kid. Just if you're in it and you're doing something and you're playing on a team, even if it's not something you truly a place you want to be at that moment in time, just give it everything you got, because that's a strong mentality for anything you do outside of sports. And even when you feel like you're suffering and you can't breathe and it's just too hard, it always gets better. And as someone who, and I hope I can talk about this on here, as someone who's big on men's mental health, because we live in this epidemic in this country of young men who decide that ending themselves is better off than just living, which is, already in itself frustrating. I also have a link on my Instagram page for it, for people who are feeling that some sort of way. Because what was that?
Go ahead and share. Go ahead and share that too. Yeah, you could absolutely talk about that on here.
Yeah, it's sprc.org, and it's just it's a link for people who, even if it's just one person that clicks on that link and it's like, oh man, this guy cares enough about me, or just enough for anybody to have sprc.org to, for young men. And I don't just, you might have young women that also watch this podcast too, But for young men, don't give up. Don't stop. Do everything you can, and just know at the end of the day, somebody cares about you. Somebody loves you. Somebody's going to be there for you. Even when you feel like you have nobody, there's somebody, whether it's me, whether it's Nick here. I will never turn somebody away who needs help. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Because I get in my own head. I've been in my own head before. Maybe it's not that extreme, but I have anxiety. I have, I get it, right? And that in itself can translate to sports, right? Don't give up. There's always somebody that wants to see you succeed. Even if you feel like there's like everyone's pushing down on you or everyone's pushing against you, some people could just be doing that because there's more in you that they want to see because they know it's there. And don't stop. I know I'm kind of all scattered on this last comment here. I'm a little bit all over the place, but it would just kind of go full circle to just don't stop. Don't stop working. Don't stop. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. And no matter in whether it's life or whether it's sports, don't give up. Keep pushing, even if you don't want to be there in that moment in time. Do not stop. Because when it's gone, and whether it's sports or life, you're gonna miss it. And that's it. That's basically all I can say. You're gonna miss it.
Yeah, I cannot agree with that more. And like Jacob said, if there is anyone out there struggling, he said you could reach out to him. You could reach out to me. My email's there. This is on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. This is everywhere. You could get a hold of us. Jacob, do you have any social media handles or other websites that you want to share? And
I
I'll make sure
do.
to get them in the descriptions too.
Instagram will probably be the best place to get a hold of me if somebody wants to. My Instagram name is at Jake Lauby. My last name Jake at Jake Lauby. That's my Instagram name. My page is public. Your messages will not go into a request folder that I sometimes see when my page was private. I'll get anything right away. You'll see what I do on there. My team. I have a link there for people going through some mental health issues. Mental health is big. I think when I retire from soccer and I retire from work, I think getting into specifically men's 18 to 35 mental health is probably something I'm going to probably really want to get into, because there's something going on in this country that's number 2 cause of death in males 18 to 35. So mental health is important, guys, and girls as well. We got to stop this. That is a temporary, it's a permanent problem, a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Yeah.
It is. That, if you guys know what I'm talking about, it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Things get better. In sports, in life, things always get better. You can get off of the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
You can. So that's basically it from me.
Well, again, I'll go ahead and put I'll share that website link in the description. I'll share Jacob's Instagram page. Again, I appreciate, you coming on. I know, like you said, it was kind of all over the place, but it's a heavy subject.
Yeah.
It's one, it's part of the reason why this show is here. I wanted it to be an outlet for everyone, but there really is a big problem going on, and if one person hears this and decides that solution isn't what they want to do after all, then it's a success.
Yeah. 100%.
Again, Jacob, I appreciate you. I know it's been a long time since we've talked, face to face, but I'll definitely keep in touch. Just know, I'm sure you kind of realize that I am paying attention. I see what you're doing. I love what you're doing. Um, I'm sure those kids love and appreciate everything that you're doing for them too. Just I, honestly, because I did see you at that age, not that it means anything, but I'm proud of what you become.
No, I appreciate it.
It's great. It's great.